Hello class, let us uh, study Unit 2 solutions. And today is our 6th lecture on this unit. Up till now, we have learned what a solution is, what are the various methods of expressing concentration. Then we also learned about the solubility of solute in solvent. Then you learned Henry's law, okay? And we discussed various other situations also, solubility of a solid in liquid, liquid in liquid, then gas in liquid, then temperature, pressure, like factors which affect solubility. Now let us go ahead. In today's lecture, 6th lecture is today, the topics which we shall cover here are, first of all, ideal and non-ideal solutions. Then we shall cover cause of non-ideal solutions showing deviations from ideal behavior. Then the third topic which we are going to cover today is azeotropes. So happy learning. Let us begin from the first topic, that is ideal and non-ideal solutions. What an ideal solution is? There are three conditions which a solution has to satisfy to become almost ideal solution. We will use the word almost ideal because nothing is ideal in this world, So ideal solution is that first, which obeys Roller's law over the entire range of concentration. Now, you must remember what Roller's law is. You have learned it already. What is Roller's law? Roller's law states that vapor pressure of a solution is the sum of vapor pressures of components, okay? And vapor pressure of a component of solution is the product of its mole fraction and its pressure in pure state. For example, if a solution has two components, component number 1 and component number 2, then pressure of that solution will be equal to vapor pressure of component A and vapor pressure of component 2, component 1 and component 2. Some books describe as component A and B, whereas some as component 1 and 2. So all or anything you can take. So PS is equal to P degree 1 x1 plus P degree 2 x2. Okay. P degree 2 x2 is the VP of component 2. P degree x1 is the VP of component 1. And PS is total pressure, pressure of solution. So this was Roller's law. If a solution is obeying this law at all concentrations, then that solution is ideal solution. Okay. Second condition to become ideal is the enthalpy of mixing the pure components to form solution is 0. The enthalpy of mixing the pure components to form solution is 0. That is, enthalpy of mixing should be 0. See here, delta H mix should be equal to 0. What does it means? It means that no enthalpy change should take place. Whenever a chemical process or physical process is carried out, some energy change, some enthalpy change takes place. If enthalpy change is negative, that means process is exothermic, heat is given out, and vice versa. But ideal solution is formed only when there is no enthalpy change on mixing the components, that is delta H is 0. Neither heat is evolved nor gained. Okay. And third is the volume of mixing is also 0. Delta mix V, delta V of mixing, change in volume on mixing the components is equal to 0. That means when we mix the components, say for example, if we are mixing 25 milliliter of component 1 and 25 milliliter of component 2, okay, 25. And on mixing, if the volume is 50, no problem, 25 plus 25, it is 50. That means there is no change in volume on mixing the components. Then that is an ideal solution. Okay, but if on mixing 25 milli of A and number 1 and 25 ml of number 2, we are getting the volume of solution as 49 ml or 51 ml. That means there is change in volume on mixing the components. So that should not be there. There should be no change in volume on mixing the components. So it means that no heat is absorbed or evolved when the components are mixed. Also, the volume of solution would be equal to the sum of volumes of components. Okay. At molecular level, actually, why it is an ideal solution? Actually, what happens at molecular level, so it is given here at molecular level, ideal behavior of the solution can be explained by considering two components, say A and B. In pure components, the intermolecular attractive forces will be of type A and B. Whereas in binary solution, in addition to these two interactions, AB type of interactions will also be present. If the intermolecular attractive forces between AA and BB are nearly equal to those between AB, this leads to the formation of ideal solution. A perfectly ideal solution is rare, as I told you earlier, but some solutions are nearly ideal in behavior. Let me explain you. For example, in this beaker, I have a pure liquid A. So it is having only A particles, molecules, atoms, ions, whatever. It is made up of A particles only. And there must be some kind of forces of attraction. If these are molecules, there are intermolecular forces of attraction. We can call it AA attraction. Okay. Similarly, we have a pure liquid, pure component B. B component, the particles are held by B particles, B molecules are held by some kind of attractive forces, BB interactions. When we mix these components together into a third beaker, what happens? Now a solution is formed. Solution means that A and B components have mixed uniformly. It is a homogeneous mixture. Solution is a homogeneous mixture. Now A and B molecules have uniform distribution. They are homogeneous. That means that intermolecular forces of attraction are now among A and B. So if AA interactions, we call it number 1, and BB interactions and AB interactions, all these interactions are of same magnitude, then no heat will be evolved, no heat will be gained, and no change in volume will be there, and solution will obey Rollett's law at all concentrations. Such a solution is called ideal solution. Actually, perfectly ideal is not there, because when AA and BB interactions dissociate and AB interactions are formed, there must be some difference in their magnitudes. Okay, but many solutions are almost ideal, almost perfectly ideal. For example, here we have written some examples like solution of N-hexane and N-heptane. Hexane, organic compound, C6H14, simple alkane, and heptane is also alkane, C7H16. So hexane and heptane both are liquids. When these are mixed together, when these are separate, when these are in their pure form, hexane molecules are held by London forces. Heptane molecules are also held by London forces. These are non-polar molecules. When these are mixed together, again, these are non-polar. Again, these are held by London forces. So there is not much variation in interactions. That is why this is an ideal solution. Then bromoethane and chloroethane. Bromoethane is a polar molecule, chloroethane is a polar molecule. When they are separate and when they are mixed, nothing much alters. That is why these are ideal. Then comes benzene and toluene. These also form ideal solution. So this was about ideal solutions. Now, let us discuss what non-ideal solutions are. Okay, non-ideal solutions are those, number 1. Now you can do it yourself also. Number 1, which do not obey Rollett's law over the entire range of concentration. That means pressure of solution is not equal to the sum of pressures of components. Okay, so pressure of solution is not equal to the sum of pressures of components. It is either more than their sum or lesser than their sum. Clear? Then enthalpy of mixing of pure components to form the solution is not 0. Delta H mixing is not 0. If it is not 0, that means it is either positive or negative. Means the process of mixing the components is either exothermic or endothermic. Okay. For example, when we dissolve some sulfuric acid into water, you must have observed it in your laboratory that when we need dilute sulfuric acid, we take water in some beaker and put little amount of sulfuric acid, and that beaker gets warm. Because mixing of sulfuric acid into water is exothermic process, heat is released. Why? You will get to know shortly. Okay. Similarly, when we dissolve glucose in water, the water gets cooler because that process is endothermic. Why? You will get to know. Okay. And third condition is the volume of mixing is also not zero. That is, delta V mixing is not equal to zero. It is either positive or negative. That means there is either increase in volume or decrease in volume. For example, I am mixing 25 milliliter component 1, liquid 1, and 25 milliliter of liquid 2 together. The total volume would be 50, but it is not 50. It is either less than 50, say 49, or more than 50, say 51. Then that means delta V mixing is not zero. It is either positive or negative. Okay. The vapor pressure of such a solution is either higher or lower than the predicted by Rayleigh's law. If it is higher, the solution shows positive deviation. And if it is lower, the solution shows negative deviation. Now you can say that there are two types of deviations exhibited by non-ideal solutions. So solutions having positive deviations have all positive conditions. Number one, pressure of solution becomes greater than the sum of pressures of components. Secondly, delta H mixing is not equal to zero. It is positive. That is, process of mixing is endothermic. And thirdly, delta V mixing is also not zero. It is negative. That is, there is decrease in volume. Similarly, on the other hand, the solutions which show negative deviations also show these three conditions, but in reverse way. The vapor pressure of such a solution is lesser than as given by Rayleigh's law. Now you got it. Okay. Then second condition, enthalpy change on mixing the components is negative. Means the process is exothermic. And thirdly, there is decrease in volume on mixing the components. Delta V mix is also negative. So non-ideal solutions are of two types depending upon their deviations. Number one, non-ideal solutions showing positive deviations, then non-ideal solutions showing negative deviations. Now, what is the cause for these deviations? Now we are going to study this topic, that why solutions show deviations from ideal behavior. What is the cause for positive deviation and what is the cause for negative deviation? So first, let us take the case of a solution that show positive deviation from Rayleigh's law. Okay. See, in case of positive deviation from Rayleigh's law, AB interactions are weaker than those between AA or BB. Are you getting it? We know A liquid and B liquid, or liquid number 1, liquid number 2 mixed together. When they are separate, there are AA interactions, BB interactions. When they are mixed, homogeneous mixture solution is formed. Now A and B are uniformly distributed. There are interactions between A and B now. Okay. And in this case, the intermolecular attractive forces between the solute solvent molecules are weaker than those between the solute and solvent. Okay. Means when A and B were separate, we can represent it like this. See, when A was in separate container, there was A interaction. Okay, in beaker 1. In beaker 2, B molecules are there having B interaction. Clear? Now we have mixed A and B together, 25 ml A, 25 ml B. Homogeneous mixture. Now A and B are held by some kind of interactions. Okay. Now it is just a representation. These two lines are line between AA and BB are solid lines, and this is a dotted line. Just to show you that these interactions are weaker than these. Okay. So when this thing happens, positive deviation take place. Means the vapor pressure will be higher than the pressure given by Roller's law. Why? Because when A was pure, interactions were strong, and you know, vapor pressure is inversely related to the strength of intermolecular forces. In lecture 4, you were explained this thing. Okay. And when strong interactions are dissociating and weak interactions are forming, that means A and B molecules are held by weak interactions. They will be having more vapor pressure due to more rate of evaporation. And that is why it is deviating from Roller's law. Okay. On graph, we can show it like this. See here, it is a graph plotted between vapor pressure on y-axis and mole fraction of components on x-axis. On here, a fraction of component 1 is 0 and 2 is 1. On moving from left to right, fraction of component 1 is increasing and 2 is decreasing. Means here it is pure second component, here it is pure first component. And this line is showing vapor pressure linear relation for component number 1, and this is for component number 2. Here, because it is pure component 1, so you can call it is P degree 1. Vapor pressure of pure 1 component. And this is P degree 2, Vp of pure component 2. Okay. And if everything was fine, if the solution was obeying Roller's law, this green line was giving the vapor pressure of solution between these two limits. But solution is not obeying Roller's law. It is non-ideal. It is showing deviation, positive deviation. That is why this blue curve, which is bulging out, is showing the real pressure, actual vapor pressure of solution. So to make it sum of these two components, we will also have to bulge these curves out. So these bulging curves are showing you non-ideal behavior of solutions showing positive deviations, and green lines are just reference which are possible when solution is ideal. Okay, now you got it, I think. Let us take some examples. First example is a mixture of ethanol and acetone. behave in this manner. What is ethanol? You know, ethanol is alcohol, CH3, CH2OH. This H is acidic H. It is directly bonded to oxygen. Okay. And acetone is what? Acetone is CH3, C double bond O, single bond CH3. Clear? Propanone, acetone common name. You know, alcohol molecules have this acidic H. Okay, due to this, it can form H bondings with other alcohol molecules. So all alcohol molecules are held by intermolecular H bondings. Clear? And in acetone, this acetone molecule is a polar molecule. Due to this CO bond, oxygen is more electronegative than carbon. CO bond is polar. This molecule will be having some polarity. Due to this polarity, these molecules will be held by dipole-dipole interactions, you can say. So when we have pure, this number one component, these molecules are held by H bondings, and these molecules are held together by dipole-dipole interactions. But when we mix these two together to make a homogeneous mixture, to make a solution, they get uniformly distributed. Means alcohol molecules are surrounded by acetone and acetone by alcohol. Now, what will happen? See, this oxygen will form some kind of H bonding with this H atom. But this O cannot form H bonding with acetone molecule, because in acetone molecule, there is no acidic H. No acidic H is present on oxygen. Okay. That is why acetone and alcohol molecules are not held by H bondings. That means interactions between alcohol were stronger. But when acetone molecules came in between these molecules, the stronger H bondings have dissociated. That is why now AB interactions are weaker. As I represent here, AB interactions are weaker than AA and BB. Means earlier AA molecules were held strongly, BB were held strongly. Now these are held less strongly. When molecules are held less strongly, they will have more ease of evaporation. They will evaporate easily. Vapors will be formed in large amount and vapor pressure will be higher. Okay, so this will be higher than as given by Rollett's law. It is showing positive deviation. Now let us explain enthalpy change. You know, heat is required to dissociate an interaction, a bonding, and heat is released when some interaction or bonding is formed. So strong AA and BB interactions are dissociating to form weak AB interactions. That means heat supplied for this and this is more than heat released when this is formed. So heat supplied more, heat released less. Net result, delta H will be positive, because delta H is equal to H of final state minus H of initial state. So more heat is gained by the process than released. Net result is heat gain. So that is why delta H is positive. The process is endothermic. Now, third thing, let us explain volume. Y volume shows increase. Delta V mixing is also positive. So Y volume mixing 25 ml of A and 25 ml of B, the volume becomes 51, not 50, it becomes 51. Why? Because when these were separate, they were held by stronger forces. They were sitting close to each other, occupying some volume. But when A and B are mixed together, they are held less strongly. They have become slightly away from each other. So obviously, they will occupy more space. They will occupy more volume. That is why volume has increased. 25 plus 25 has become more than 50. And that is why delta V mixing is positive. So this all is the reason for positive deviations. Okay. Now take another example. In a solution formed by adding carbon disulfide to acetone, the dipolar interactions between solute solvent molecules are weaker than the respective interactions among the solute and solvent. 1, 1, 2, 2 we call it. Okay, so two things are there. One is carbon disulfide and second is acetone. Again, same thing. Carbon disulfide is CS2. CS2 means that C atoms are held with two sulfur. Two sulfur atoms are held with one C. This is CS2 molecule. Okay. And second is acetone. Acetone you already know. CH3CO, CH3CO. Now acetone molecules are polar due to high negativity of oxygen. These are polar molecules held by dipole-dipole interactions. And these molecules are non-polar because dipole moment of carbon and sulfur is almost same. There is not much difference. So these molecules are non-polar. These molecules are polar. When this acetone is in a container, acetone molecules are held by dipole-dipole interaction. And carbon disulfide is in separate container. These are held by London forces. These are non-polar molecules. When these are mixed together, now homogeneous mixture, uniform distribution, polar molecules surrounded by non-polar, non-polar by polar. Okay, so what happens? That dipole-dipole interactions of acetone molecules dissociate and weaker interactions are formed, like first case. So again, it is showing positive deviations. All three things you can explain similarly. Okay, I think you have got this. So this is the graph which represents positive deviations from Rowlett's law. And this is the literature. You can learn it now. And now in opposite way, we are going to explain solutions that show negative deviation from Rowlett's law. It is just reverse. You can do it by yourself also. I will give you hint. Hint means what is a non-ideal solution? We written here just opposite. You can write for yourself on your notebooks. Non-ideal is that in which total vapor pressure, that is VP of solution, is just lesser than the sum of components. PS is lesser than the sum of components. Okay. And delta H mixing is negative. Heat is released. And delta V mixing is also negative. There is decrease in volume. This graph will be reversed. Now curves will depress down. First these were bulging out, now depressing. It shows that now between these two limits, the vapor pressure of solution is below this green line. Green line represents ideal behavior, blue line non-ideal. It is lesser than vapor pressure given by Rayleigh's law. It is showing negative deviation. Okay, and what is the cause? Now cause is also just reverse. Now A-B interactions will be stronger than A and B. When A and B are in separate containers, A molecules held together by AA interactions, B molecules are held by BB interactions. When homogeneous mixture is formed, A and B molecules get held together by stronger interactions. These lines between AA and BB are dotted. AB is a solid line just to represent that weak interactions have dissociated to form strong interactions. Okay. Now, vapor pressure is lesser. Why? Because when these were separate, the rate of vaporization was more vapors were forming because weak forces are there. And now forces have become stronger, less vapors will be formed. So vapor pressure will also be lesser. Okay. Now, weak forces are dissociated, means heat required is less, heat gained is less. And strong interaction is formed, heat released will be more. So net result, there is release of heat. That is why delta H is negative and the process is exothermic. Okay, so you can do it yourself. Now let us see examples. First example is a mixture of phenol and aniline. Phenol is just alcohol, aromatic alcohol you can call. In phenol, there are H bondings among phenol molecules, you know. So a phenol molecule is like this. This is benzene having hydroxy group, OH. This H is acidic. Phenol molecules are held together by H bonding. Then aniline. What is aniline? Aniline is again benzene having NH2 group. This is aniline. Aniline is also having acidic H. You know, when H atom is present on fluorine, oxygen, and nitrogen, it is called acidic H, because most electronegative element is fluorine. After that, oxygen. After that, nitrogen. So these three are most electronegative atoms. Negativity of all other atoms is lesser than these. And those are not capable of forming H bonding. That is why the H atom, which is present on either fluorine or oxygen or nitrogen, is called acidic H. Only it can form H bonding. So aniline molecules are also held by H bondings. Phenol molecules are also held by H bondings, similar molecules. But when we mix aniline and phenol together, of course, H bondings will be formed again. But now these H bondings will be among aniline and phenol, means different molecules. H bonding was stronger when it was between phenol and aniline, similar molecules. Now H bonding is weaker. Okay, so means AB interactions are now weaker than AA and BB. Molecules will move apart from each other slightly, Vp will increase, volume will increase, and delta H will be positive because weak interactions are formed by dissociating strong. Clear? Now, second example. A mixture of chloroform and acetone form a solution with a negative. See here, this is acetone, this is chloroform. When acetone is separate, it is held by dipole-dipole. Chloroform is separate, it is held by dipole-dipole. Chloroform is also polar molecule. But when acetone and chloroform mix together, so this H atom of chloroform and this O atom of acetone will have interactions. And these interactions are stronger. Due to this, it is also showing negative deviations. Okay. So this was about solutions showing positive and negative deviations from ideal behavior from Rollard's law. Now, third topic of lecture 6 is azeotropes. It is also very important term. You must learn it. So what are azeotropes? You know, when we boil something, what happens? For example, I have saline water, brine, it is called brine. When NaCl is dissolved in water, that solution is called brine, B-R-I-N-E in chemistry. But in common life, it is called saline water, namkeen pani. Okay. So I have dissolved a teaspoon of NaCl in a glass of water, say. Okay. And I put it on burner. I open the fire and put it on burner. And what will happen? Of course, evaporation process will take place. And because salt is non-volatile, water is volatile, and water vapors will be given out. And after some time, if you stop heating it and you taste it, it will be more bitter than earlier. And if we talk in chemical terms, at start of this experiment, the mole fraction of salt and mole fraction of water in that solution was something there. And at the end of process, will both values of mole fraction be same? No. Due to evaporation, amount of water has reduced. Salt is non-volatile. So now the mole fraction of salt has increased and that of water has decreased in that solution. Now say we have a solution having two components in which both are volatile. For example, I have alcohol, ethyl alcohol, I have water. We mix 50 ml ethyl alcohol, 50 ml water together. You know, vapor pressure of ethyl alcohol is more than that of water. Clear? Now we slightly heat the solution. What will happen? Evaporation will take place and alcohol molecules will evaporate with more speed than water because vapor pressure of alcohol is more. And the concentration of solution will keep on changing. Means mole fraction of water will not be same after at the end of experiment. It will change. Clear? So when we boil solutions, their mole fractions change. Their composition changes. So on boiling a solution, its composition gets changed. But what if a solution boils without any change in composition? That solution is called azeotrope. Clear? If a solution boils without any change in concentration. Solutions not boil like this. Pure solvents boil without any change in composition. For example, I have 1 liter pure water. Component, I call it component 1. Only 1. So in 1 liter of pure water, mole fraction of water X1 will be 1 because no other thing is there. I boil it. I reduce it to half. Now it is 500 ml. What is its mole fraction? 1. Because still it is pure water. X1 is 1. I further boil it. I reduce it to 250, 100, 1 ml. If it is 1 ml, even then its mole fraction is 1 because it is still pure water. You got it? Means a pure solvent boils without change in its composition. But a solution cannot boil without change in composition because the vapor pressures of components are different. They are vaporizing with different rates. Their mole fractions change. But some condition is there. Under that condition, if a solution is boiling like a pure solvent, if a solution is boiling without any change in its composition, then that solution is called azeotrope. Now you can read it from here. Azeotropes are binary mixtures having the same composition in liquid and vapor phase and boil at a constant temperature. In such case, it is not possible to separate the components by fractional distillation. You must have learned in your 11th syllabus that how to separate ethyl alcohol and water. We have a solution having ethyl alcohol and water. What we do fractional distillation. We heat it slightly. Boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius and that of alcohol is 40. First vapors of alcohol are formed and we collect these vapors by condensation, separate these, then water. So simple. But what if both are evaporating with the same speed? Then such a solution cannot be separated by fractional distillation. Okay, now azeotropes are also of 2 types: minimum boiling azeotropes and maximum boiling azeotropes. So let us discuss first minimum boiling azeotropes. Minimum boiling azeotropes are those which show large positive deviation from Rowlatt's law. Means their vapor pressure is higher than given by Rowlatt's law. Okay. And it will affect its boiling point. When vapor pressure will become higher, boiling point is obviously going to decrease. Okay, that is why it is called minimum boiling. Boiling point is lesser than the components. Okay, for example, ethanol water mixture obtained by fermentation of sugar on fractional distillation gives a solution containing approximately 93% by volume of ethanol. For example, if you mix 93% by volume, 93 ml ethanol, remaining, 95, it is 95 ml ethanol, 5 ml water, mixed together and allowed to boil. What will happen? The boiling point is of this solution is lesser than the boiling point of water as well as boiling point of alcohol. Exact values you can get from your books. Okay, so that is an azeotropic mixture. It will boil like a pure solvent without any change in composition. Just contrary of this is maximum boiling azeotropes. Just reverse, The solutions that show large negative deviations from Rowlett's law means pressure of solution is lesser than lesser than expected. That means we will have to heat it more to bring its boiling point. Boiling point will increase. So these are called maximum boiling azeotrophs. An example is there. Nitric acid and water is example of this type. A solution having 68% nitric acid and 32% water by mass. By mass here, 68 gram nitric acid, 32 gram water mixed together. And boiling point of this solution is 393.5. You know, boiling point of water is 373. Okay. Similarly, boiling point of nitric acid is also lesser than this value. Means boiling point of this solution is higher than that of both components. So these are the two azeotrophs. If still you have some doubt, you can ask again. And now at the end of lecture, these are some problems which you got to do in your notebooks. First is write any for example of non-ideal solution showing negative deviation. You can get these examples from your books. Whatever book you have, all books have many examples you can just find out. Second, having positive deviations. Third is two examples of minimum boiling azeotrophs, their percentage composition and their boiling points. Write all this in tabular form you can write. Similarly for a minimum boiling. Okay. And fifth is a numerical. It is based upon previous lecture. Revisit that lecture and solve this numerical. You will get a chance to brush up your memory and make a link. And in the next lecture, we will discuss next topic, which is colligative properties. Okay. Now I think this is enough for today. Goodbye and thank you.